Welcome back to the Greenfinch Project, yet another installment of this work. Here I am again working with a very sharp 4H Faber-Castell 9000 series pencil. I'm building up the long feathers on the underside of the belly and the flank. What I'm doing is I'm trying to hold the pencil at quite a perpendicular angle to the surface, and I'm flicking inward from the outline of the wing and that leaf which is just under my hand there. So what I'm trying to do is, without shading under the wing, I want to try and drag in longer strokes that suggest the length and the direction and the frequency of the little hair strands that make up those feathers. They're not as tightly bound as the flying feathers of the the primary feathers of the wings. They're sort of more fluffy and more kind of downy than the feathers that we're going to work on later on. But I do want to build up the texture here, because the difference in the texture between the bird and the background is critical if I'm going to have sort of balance in the piece. The bird could become lost in among all that foliage if there isn't anything to discriminate the bird as opposed to the foliage, and so texture is really important. And I'm making this texture, like I say, by having a very sharp pencil, and I'm trying not to blend with a paper stump like I did with the background. This will create a different kind of texture, a different rhythm to the piece. I've tried to avoid outlining, but this area has become so busy with the background and the textures that are about to build up on the wing that I felt it was necessary for me to outline parts of it so that I could actually observe it myself and not lose track of it. Again, some longer strokes following the direction of the form underneath, modelling the form of this, the illusion of the solid object underneath all the feathers. Possibly a 2H here, quite likely, because I've only been using the harder pencils, the ones that have got more clay mixed in with the graphite. So 4H and 2H sharpened with a Jacquard electrical eraser. Electrical sharpener, my apologies. And here, just building up the short strokes on the back, but that area has been embossed anyway, so if I use an oblique, the pencil at an oblique angle, I can shade and pick up the embossing that was done there already. So quite happy with the way that it's looking right now. I do feel as if it's coming closer to completion. These are tiny little hairs round about the neck and the nape, and again I'm just doing very, very short upward strokes away from the centre of the hand, pushing upward and out. Sometimes I'll drag towards the hand, but this one, there's little flicks away to try and give those kind of stubbly feathers. And I'm asking myself, how much light do I need to leave? I mean, I can't cover, well, technically I could cover the entire bird with short strokes, but since I'm going to be glazing this with acrylic, clear acrylic first of all to seal it, and then paint over with either more acrylic or oil glazes, then do I actually want to leave some spaces of it unrendered so that we just get the pure pigment? And even then, I'd want to have the brush strokes in to create the illusion of that texture of the bird. Short strokes across on the diagonal are quite convincing. Here, across the crown, towards the front. And again, changing the angle because the bird's head curves in two directions, north and south. So from the front of the beak back to the nape, and from east to west, eye to eye. That's how I'm rationalizing it to myself. Okay, and building up those smaller feathers again, sometimes with little dots, little stabbing motions with the pencil, trying to create those little indents, those little textures, and building it up slowly and carefully. And that for me is the joy of this 5-pencil technique, because if you are uncertain to begin with, then if you're making marks with a lighter pencil, then successively you build up the scaffolding that creates the image that you want and helps you make judgments about your artwork later on. There is some blending here because that is one of the areas where the grey comes through on the glazes. So if we're treating this drawing as a grisaille for a grisaille under painting, if you like, for the glazes that are going on top, that blended area is one of the areas where the grey shows through. The colour will not be added on top. Okay. A little bit of blending there, doesn't seem to have damaged the texture, and again with the underside of the belly towards the left flank. Yes, it's a dark area in there, but it's not completely dark, and what I'm trying to do is follow that contour of the wing without drawing a line. So there's a pencil eraser used to bring in some highlights. I wish I had a Tombow with a fine point so I could really bring out those hairs. And also there is a whitening material that you can use to reinstate whites back onto your page. Sometimes it's done with Posca pens on the end of a cocktail stick or a pin, or some of the finer pens might work if you were working really quite big. But this is less than A3 and heavily detailed, so I will want to do something else, something a lot more fine. Here I'm planning the number of primary feathers that need to be rendered on the left wing, and I think we'll see that in the next video. But what I'm trying to do is show the outside or leading edge of the wing is actually raggedy. It's a ragged edge rather than a solid line. So the embossing tool is helping me to create those areas where there are breaks in that that leading line. Okay, that's it. The video's coming to a close. Thank you again for watching, and more importantly, listening to me talk about this artwork. Thanks for being with me on this journey. Please join me for the next episode.